Father President, friars, distinguished officers and administrators, colleagues, students, parents, family, and friends. Our theme for this semester is John 6:35. Jesus said to them, "I am the bread of life. He who comes to me shall not hunger, and he who believes in me shall never thirst." On the face of it, this verse sounds like a fantastic deal. Come to Jesus, and you won't have to struggle to feed yourself anymore. He'll give you all the food and drink you need, and all you have to do is kick back and chill. With such a great offer, you'd think everyone would want to follow Jesus. But you've probably noticed that our fellow Americans aren't exactly breaking down church doors trying to get to him. In fact, they are leaving churches in droves as our culture experiences a rapid secularization. Why is this? Well, if we read further in the context of John 6, we discover that the bread and drink Jesus speaks of is not the kind that people want. The crowds following Jesus in John 6 want physical bread. Jesus had just performed the miracle of the loaves, providing fish and chips for 5,000 men, plus women and children. The crowds want Jesus to do this again. "Lord, give us this bread always," they say. But the bread and drink Jesus speaks of is his very self. "I am the living bread which came down from heaven. If anyone eats of this bread, he will live forever." Jesus is inviting the crowds into a relationship with himself, a relationship that will last forever and bestow on them eternal life. But the crowds aren't interested. Their stomachs are growling. When they finally realize that more fish and chips aren't going to be served, they leave Jesus in droves. They are first and foremost concerned with immediate satisfaction of their physical appetites. And that's true of our contemporary culture as well. The only goal for most Americans seems to be to satisfy physical desires: food, sex, comfort, drugs perhaps. As long as you have a continual supply of these things, there's nothing higher to live for. Around the country, many universities are beginning their academic years right now. And for many of these institutions, there's no higher goal than to train students to make money so that they can satisfy their physical desires in an admirable fashion. Here at Franciscan, we aspire to something more. We've been taught by St. Francis, who was born to a life of wealth and had all his physical desires satiated, and yet found it all empty. Only Jesus satisfied St. Francis. He found Jesus truly to be the bread of life. The life of St. Francis reminds me of a well-known song we used to sing when I was a Protestant pastor of an inner-city church years before I became Catholic. The song was by gospel artist Kirk Franklin and went like this: "Silver and gold, I'd rather have Jesus than silver and gold. No fame or fortune, nor riches untold. I'd rather have Jesus than silver and gold." This semester, we will celebrate the canonization of Blessed John Henry Newman, who wrote so much on the mission of the Christian University. Newman lived a century before Kirk Franklin and in a radically different culture. Nonetheless, he would have appreciated Franklin's lyrics, which express the heart of Christian faith. As Christians, we'd rather have Jesus than anything else, than everything else. As another singer says, "You can have all this world, give me Jesus." As Catholics, though, we know that the Eucharist is Jesus, And in calling himself the bread of life, Jesus was pointing toward his Eucharistic presence. Reflecting on the mystery of the Eucharist shortly after his own conversion to the Catholic faith, Blessed John Henry Newman said, "It is such an incomprehensible blessing to have Christ in bodily presence in one's house, within one's walls, as it swallows up all other privileges and destroys every pain. It is the place for intercession, surely, where the Blessed Sacrament is." Newman would have loved Franciscan, because here we have the privilege of pursuing truth through study with the presence of Christ in the sacrament always nearby. He is our bread of life, our only consolation in these difficult times, our only hope for eternal life. In the busyness of this coming academic year, God forbid we should ever lose our way and start seeking for satisfaction in some lesser bread. Thank you.